Now, most people don't pick weak income opportunities because they're lazy or unmotivated. They pick them because they don't know how to evaluate structure before they invest time. By the time the results disappoint, weeks, months, or even years are already spent. In this video, you'll learn a simple evaluation method you can apply before effort turns into regret. So here is the point. Income outcomes are usually predictable in behavior, even when the exact numbers are unknown. If you can identify what an opportunity depends on, you can predict how it will feel to maintain, how it will scale, and whether it will survive real life. Evaluation is how you see that early, before commitment traps you. Earlier, we separated effort, assets, and systems as different categories. That distinction becomes practical only when you can classify an opportunity correctly. Marketing language is unreliable because it highlights upside and hides dependency. Evaluation is the process of stripping away claims and identifying the real category underneath, so you can choose intentionally instead of emotionally. Most opportunities sell you on upside, income potential, freedom, flexibility, status, or speed. Upside is not the useful information. The useful information is what must happen repeatedly for output to continue. When you identify repeated requirements, you can see the true engine of the opportunity. That engine determines pressure, ceiling, and sustainability. It tells you what the work really costs. Start with dependency. Ask, what breaks the moment attention is removed? If output collapses immediately, effort is the engine. If output continues unevenly, an asset may exist. If output continues with predictable momentum and few decisions, a system may be present. This question is simple, but it removes most confusion instantly. Many paths claim to be scalable or passive, yet require daily engagement to survive. They are not deceptive by accident. They are framed around results, not structure. So, dependency stays hidden until you are already invested. When you evaluate dependency up front, you stop buying stories and start seeing mechanics, which protects your time and attention. Next, evaluate restart cost. Ask, if I pause for 2 weeks, what happens, and how hard is it to resume? Effort income resets completely. Assets degrade slowly. Systems resume with minimal friction. Restart difficulty predicts stress. The harder the restart, the more your future life will be forced to revolve around keeping it alive. That is a real durability test. This matters because life always interrupts progress. Illness, travel, fatigue, family needs, and shifting priorities are not rare events. They are guarantees. Income that collapses under interruption creates pressure and anxiety. Income that survives interruption creates optionality. So evaluation should assume disruption, not ideal conditions, and reward structures that remain stable. That is the point of freedom. Another lens is time concentration. Some opportunities require effort at specific moments, and missing those window stalls progress. Others distribute effort loosely over time, so you can recover. The more concentrated the required effort, the more fragile the structure tends to be. Concentration creates urgency, and urgency is a hidden cost that accumulates. It quietly shapes your daily life. This explains why many people feel trapped even outside traditional jobs. Their work looks flexible in theory, but rigid in practice. The structure demands presence at the wrong times, creating stress instead of freedom. So when you evaluate an opportunity, include how time is demanded, not just how many hours are demanded. Timing is leverage. Now evaluate decision load. Count how many decisions are required to keep output moving. What to do today? What to post? Who to message? What to tweak? What to chase? Effort-heavy paths demand constant judgment. Systems reduce decisions through design. Fewer decisions means less fatigue, more consistency, and a lower chance of quitting under pressure. Decision exhaustion is one of the main reasons motivation fades. It is not laziness, it is cognitive overload. When income depends on repeated choices, mental energy becomes the bottleneck. Evaluation that ignores decision load underestimates long-term cost. If a structure requires you to constantly choose, it will eventually punish you, even if it pays early. Feedback timing matters too. Effort income responds immediately. Assets respond slowly. Systems respond unevenly at first and then stabilize. When people misjudge feedback timing, they abandon good structures too early or cling to fragile ones too long. Evaluation means matching your expectations to the correct timing profile so you do not confuse discomfort with failure. This is why people chase quick validation. Immediate feedback feels reassuring, even when the path leads nowhere. Delayed feedback feels uncomfortable, even when it compounds. A good evaluation separates emotional comfort from structural quality. If you need constant proof to continue, you will be biased toward effort, not because it is better, but because it feels safer. Another signal is substitution. Ask whether someone else could step in without breaking the process. Effort paths resist substitution because the income is tied to a specific person. Systems allow substitution because roles are designed to be replaceable. The easier something is to substitute, the less dependent it is on any one individual and the more resilient it becomes. Substitution does not mean removing humans. It means designing roles and steps that can be handed off without chaos. Income that depends on irreplaceable effort is fragile. Income that survives substitution is resilient. So evaluation should always test how much damage absence creates. If absence creates disaster, the structure is quietly consuming your freedom. That is what reduces anxiety long-term. Now, look at scaling behavior. Some income grows linearly with effort, more input, more output, until burnout. Some grows unevenly with assets. Systems grow through reinforcement, where one part strengthens another. If growth requires proportionally more attention at each step, the ceiling is already visible. Evaluation should reveal whether scale reduces or increases pressure. You want pressure to fall, not rise. This is why growth alone is not a solution. Scaling effort increases pressure. Scaling systems reduces pressure over time. When you evaluate opportunities, ask how growth changes the experience of running it. A path that becomes harder as it grows rarely produces freedom. A path that becomes smoother as it grows is closer to a true system. Risk concentration is another lens. Ask where failure lives. Effort concentrates risk in the individual. Assets concentrate risk in performance. Systems distribute risk across structure, so a single problem does not destroy output. When you locate where breakdown occurs, you stop being surprised by failure. Evaluation is not pessimism. It is realism that prevents regret. This lens also prevents emotional overcommitment. When risk is clearly identified, disappointment becomes information instead of identity. You stop taking failure personally and start treating it structurally. That shift improves decision quality across every opportunity you will ever consider. Evaluation gives you a calm relationship with outcomes because you expected the behavior from the start. If you followed the series, this evaluation approach ties directly to dependency. Effort, assets, and systems fail differently. Evaluation is simply predicting those failure modes in advance instead of discovering them through exhaustion. When you can predict failure modes, you can choose paths that fit your life, your tolerance, and your long-term goal, not your mood. Most people skip evaluation because it feels abstract. They prefer action because action produces emotional relief. But action without evaluation leads to repeated rebuilding. Evaluation saves time not by slowing you down, but by preventing misdirected momentum. It keeps your effort from being spent on structures that cannot deliver what you want, regardless of how hard you try. This is why experienced builders look selective. They are not pessimistic, they are predictive. They can see structure early, long before results appear. That ability is not talent, it is evaluation. Once you practice these lenses repeatedly, you stop needing to try everything. You start recognizing patterns, and your choices become cleaner and faster. That skill is learnable with repetition. The goal is not to avoid effort. The goal is to place effort where it compounds instead of resetting. Evaluation lets you decide where effort belongs. Without evaluation, effort fills gaps that design should have solved and pressure grows silently. With evaluation, you choose structures where design carries the load, and effort becomes strategic instead of desperate. Once evaluation becomes habitual, opportunities lose their emotional pull. You stop chasing novelty, and you stop reacting to promises. You start selecting paths based on how they behave over time, not how they sound initially. This is where people begin to feel calm around money decisions. Calm is a signal that structure is becoming clearer than hype. Evaluation changes confidence in a subtle way. You no longer need certainty, you need clarity. Evaluation does not guarantee success, but it dramatically reduces regret, burnout, and wasted years of well-intentioned effort. When you can articulate dependency, restart cost, decision load, and scaling behavior, you can say no quickly and you can say yes with purpose. Many people believe freedom comes from choosing the right opportunity. In reality, freedom comes from choosing the right structure. Evaluation is how you identify structure early, before commitment turns into dependency. When you evaluate structure first, you stop paying tuition in time and stress. You begin building an income life that can survive interruptions and still move forward. This is why thinking precedes building. Structure precedes scale. Evaluation precedes freedom. Skipping this order feels faster at first, but it almost always leads back to effort disguised as progress. When you slow down to evaluate, you are not delaying results. You are preventing the wrong kind of results. Pressure, fragility, and constant restarting. Order protects you from false speed. Once you adopt this approach, income decisions stop feeling urgent. You gain patience without forcing it. Opportunities can wait because you are no longer hungry for promises. The right structure becomes obvious through evaluation, not persuasion. This is the mental shift that separates builders from chasers. Builders choose based on behavior, not excitement. Excitement stops driving your choices. From here, the conversation narrows further. If evaluation predicts outcomes, which few signals matter most when deciding whether to build, buy, or ignore an opportunity entirely? That question refines judgment even further. Once you can answer it, you stop spending months to learn what could have been learned in minutes. Clarity becomes your advantage. That is how you build faster overall.